This video is brought to you by the Wonderful 101, exclusively on Wii U.
What's up, everyone? My name is Colin Moriarty. I'm senior editor of IGN. This is Scott Lowe. He's the executive editor of IGN Tech. Scott, thank you for joining me.
Of course, thank you.
Last night was kind of surprisingly exciting because we watched a press conference late last night in Pacific time, but in Japan it was during the day.
Right.
And it was for Sony's pre-TGS press conference, kind of showing off some things for PlayStation, getting some things out of the way before the proper TGS press conference. And one thing that we were very excited about was PS Vita TV.
Yeah, it's a weird name, and like when we first saw it all coming out, like it was kind of in a rush at the very end of the press conference. It seemed like very bizarre, but as we slowly deciphered it all, it actually seems like a really awesome product.
Yeah, it does. Like, so I wrote like 8-9 stories, something like that last night. I was deliriously tired. It was like 1 in the morning. I'm like, this sounds really cool. I'm going to bed. I woke up this morning and I was like, PS Vita TV, this could be a game changer. This could change everything for Vita's fortunes and also for the way we play PlayStation in terms of PS3 and PS4 as well.
Yeah. So I mean, to recap, like the big core tenant features are, that it's a really small, like $100 or $150, depending on which version you get. The $150 version comes with a controller and a memory card. But anyway, so it's a really small little box that connects to your TV, and using a wireless network can either remote play stuff from your PlayStation 4. So if you wanted to, like, let's say, the way I described it to my girlfriend this morning was like, if you're watching TV in the living room and my PS4 is in there, I can have the PS Vita TV in the bedroom, and I can play games there without having to move my PlayStation 4. So that alone is, like, I think a huge value proposition. And then, of course, there's the capacity to actually pop in a Vita card and play with a DualShock 3, where you can play actually Vita games. Even if you don't have a Vita, you could feasibly, just buy one of the cards.
Yeah, that's the thing that a lot of people are confused about out there, is that this is a PlayStation Vita. So you don't have to have some people, you have to have the Vita and then you buy this thing. No, this thing is a Vita. It's just a Vita without a screen.
Yeah.
It's got it's got a power, port and stuff like that. They've taken, obviously it's cheaper because they don't have to have the screen, they don't have the internal power and all those kinds of things. But it has a slot for PS Vita games and a slot for memory cards, and you can plug an Ethernet cable into it. It's about the size of a deck of cards, like you said. It's really small, and they said it's the smallest PlayStation hardware ever. But I agree that it's cool to be able to play Vita games, and obviously that in turn lets you play PS1 and PSP games on your TV. But it's really the remote play options with PlayStation 4, which will be put in later via system updates. That is really intriguing because, like you said, you could potentially buy one PS4 and then buy like 4 PS Vita TVs and kind of strew them around your house.
Yeah, I mean, obviously latency is a huge concern. I mean, I've yet to come across an amazing example of live streaming gaming. Like, OnLive was kind of an interesting example. Like, it ran fairly low with low latency, but the visual experience was not very good. Then you look at stuff like the NVIDIA Shield, which allows you to stream from your PC in your house. Can be kind of finicky, especially when you're looking at like competitive multiplayer games or even just multiplayer games in general online. Like, the latency between what you do on the controller as opposed to what's reflected on the display is often really slow. But then again, we haven't seen anything related to Gaikai, whether it be for PS Vita, remote play, or the cloud streaming stuff yet. So they could be working with some powerful new tech.
Yeah, I mean, the Gaikai acquisition, which cost Sony almost $400 million, is certainly at the hub of all of these kind of streaming technologies that they're working on right now. So unlike a lot of the other things that they showed at the press conference yesterday, they did confirm that this will come out in the West. And I'm sure the PS Vita redesign itself, which we talked about in another video, will also come West. But this comes out sooner in Japan. Like you said, it's going to cost $100 out of the box, or $150 if you want to get DualShock 3 and a memory card with it. We're going to import one, so we'll be able to play with it, and we'll have some fun with it. We can finally get direct Vita games too, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I think is interesting, and I'm curious about your take on this, is with so much touch functionality included in Vita, think about a game like Uncharted even, or a game like Nun Attack that's all touch controls.
Yeah.
The presser here from Sony Asia says that not all games will be compatible with PS Vita TV, so that's important to keep in mind. But I wonder, do you think that games can be patched, or do you think that they'll even bother to patch some of the bigger games to make them work?
I don't know if they'll go through the cost to patch games, but I think that a lot of the Vita games that I think are most popular really kind of allow you to kind of optionally use it. Like, Killzone Mercenary is a great example. Like, there are some things that are specific to touch controls, like, the zooming on the scope for a sniper rifle. But other than that, most of the functions of the game are, optional for touchscreen. So I think there is, a capacity for them to just kind of like, work around it in that way, where it's only like games that don't really require it, at least not in a really massive level. But yeah, going back and patching games I think might be a little bit weird because, I mean, obviously what's the incentive there?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the exciting thing is I'm going to Tokyo in a few days, and we're going to be seeing this and a bunch of other games and some cool stuff at Tokyo Game Show this year. So keep it tuned to IGN for all things from Tokyo Game Show, and of course all things PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation Vita and PS Vita TV. Scott, thank you for joining me.
Of course.
Beyond.